still talking over it. Welcome into Not Another Football Show. I'm Tamara Brown, and if you can't already tell by the title, we're not just here to talk stats and schemes. We're here to have some fun. Football is entertainment. And so without further ado, I'm going to bring in my co-host for today, Symone Stanley. She's a sports reporter. Symone, tell them a little bit about yourself before we get started.
Yeah, so I'm a sideline reporter for the NBA G League. I also am a play-by-play announcer for the SIAC football conference. Big-time Eagles fan, content creator. So, yeah, I'm excited for the show. Seems like it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And I thought, what better way to have fun than to make fun of other fan bases? You know, if you didn't already know this about Symone, she is a huge Eagles fan. So in this segment, she probably won't be talking about her fan base. We're going to point to other fan bases here. Spiraling fan bases. If you had to pick one, Symone, who is the first one to come to mind?
Definitely the Washington Commanders, because obviously I'm biased. You said it. I'm an Eagles fan, but the Commanders, they're a team that came into the season with high expectations. They made it to the NFC Championship game last year. New quarterback, rookie sensation, and Jaden Daniels. They were expected to come in this season and be one of the top teams in the NFC, especially after the moves they made this offseason, beefing up the defensive line. They had a solid draft. They made a trade for Deebo Samuels. And then this season, it's just not going in their favor. Now, at this point in the season, they do have a lot of injuries, specifically on offense. However, when they were still fully healthy, they just weren't looking like that splashy offense we were expecting the Commanders to have this season. Now that they're injured, it's getting dicey, especially when you look at their schedule for the rest of the season. They still have to play the Seahawks. They still have to play the Lions. They still have to play the Eagles twice. They still have to play Dallas twice. They have a very tough schedule. And if they keep playing like they're playing right now, it's not going to be cute. The fan base was very loud last season, very loud on social media, felt like their glory days were back, feeling like it was the 90s again. Now it's very quiet in the DMV.
I can totally agree with that. For me, I think that when you look at Jaden Daniels' rookie season, there was just so much hope. And I think that carried into this year and the expectations of, okay, you got a rookie, he won AP Offensive Rookie of the Year. He led them to the playoffs. Like, I'm expecting this year you're going to come in and continue to make noise. And obviously you can't prepare for injuries. He was out 2 games with a knee injury, 1 now with a hamstring. And hamstrings, you never really know how they're going to go. You obviously see that in Lamar Jackson. So I don't know if they can turn it around. I'm sure Commanders fans are hopeful, especially when Jaden Daniels comes back. But I can only imagine thinking like, hey, we're back. We're finally in the mix this year. We can finally, have bragging rights. Right. And then this is how the season has started so far. So that was a good one, Symone. I am actually going to come in hot with this one. And I'm going to have to say the Cowboys are my spiraling fan base.
Ooh, I love that.
And for good reason. And for good reason. Because to me personally, when you look at this team this season, it all started with Jerry Jones making the decision to get rid of Micah Parsons. Like, there are certain players you just cannot get rid of, and that's one of them. Like, he is a game changer, a game wrecker. And so for me, getting rid of him kind of started the spiral for this team. And I don't know if there's any way to turn it around. Because if we're being real here, the pass rush impacts the pass coverage. So your corners, your defensive backs, they cannot get takeaways if the pass rush isn't happening. And so without Micah Parsons, how are you going to get those turnovers and get the ball back to your offense? And then on offense, Dak Prescott in this offense has not been good at all. They've been inconsistent. He has barely had time to throw. The offensive line is a mess. You would have thought they would have been great with adding George Pickens onto their offense. But overall, as a whole, I feel like both offense and defense are not moving in the right direction. And I think it all started with getting rid of Micah Parsons.
Yeah, they've been spiraling since that trade, especially because I feel like a lot of Dallas fans thought that Micah Parsons was going to be staying there. Jerry Jones, the owner, he likes to drag out contract situations. He likes to take it to the buzzer, to the preseason before he signs these big contracts. So it's the fact that a lot of Dallas fans felt like, oh, routine. Micah Parsons is going to get paid at the end of August. But no, not only does he get traded, he gets traded to a contender within the NFC, and then you have to see him balling out, and you have to see your defense looking leaky every week. So yeah, Dallas is another team that's spiraling.
So those are two of our spiraling fan bases. I'm sure we could, go in all day talking about other ones like the Miami Dolphins or maybe even the Giants, who, they've lost two of their most outstanding players in Malik Neighbors and Scatterbo. But we don't have time for that because we want to continue to have some fun. We'll be back after the break with more on Not Another Football Show. We are back on Not Another Football Show. Symone and I hit it off talking about spiraling fan bases to start this show off, and now we're going to get into some hot takes. And I'm calling this segment Take It or Leave It, Symone. And I had you go first on the spiraling fan bases, so I'm going to go first here to give you some time to think about your hot take. But my hot take, and take it or leave it here, is that the Packers are going to make a run. The Packers are going to make a run. You heard it here first. And I say that because Jordan Love is really coming into his own. And I think back to 3 years ago when they drafted him, and I was like, is this a good decision? Is this a good decision to follow behind Aaron Rodgers? And they had him sit behind him for 3 years. And 3 years is a very long time to not be on the field because, as you know, of course you can learn so much behind a veteran leader watching him, but you really learn by getting out there and playing. His first season, playing after Aaron Rodgers, it was kind of sketchy. It was like, I don't know if this man is going to be the future of this franchise. But now you look at him, he's so confident, he's so comfortable, he's getting more consistent as the games go on, and he's being able to improvise a lot. And you want to see that in a quarterback. He can not only throw, but he can make moves with his legs as well. And we talked about this earlier with the Cowboys, but the trade to the Packers, Micah Parsons, not only is their offense coming around, their defense is coming around. Because as you know, opposing offenses, when they're now playing the Packers, they have to double team Micah Parsons. So that frees up a lot of other people on their defense to be successful. So when I'm looking at a team who can make a run, it's the Packers. I mean, Jordan Love, he's getting super confident in his offense. Obviously, he has two great guys in Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs too. Makes a quarterback's life easier. And now their defense is coming into their own with Micah Parsons, who you can probably say it was their missing piece.
Yeah, I like it. I think the Packers are a legit team to go on a run, especially now that they're getting healthy. Like you mentioned, Christian Watson was able to come back week 8. I can't believe it was just week 8. But Christian Watson able to come back, adding some more firepower into that offense. Kraft is great as well. Dobbs is great. Running game is great. So as long as Jordan Love continues to be that manager, I know that gets like a bad rep sometimes, but I don't see that as a negative. As long as he continues to manage this offense, control it, take care of the ball, I think the Packers could be a legit team to go on the run. Obviously, the pass rush is starting to heat up. Mm-hmm. It was a little slow to start the season, but it seems like they're definitely hitting their stride. So I like that. I like the Packers.
I'm curious who you're going to say. I know you're probably not going to say the Eagles because that's not really a hot take.
Yeah, that's not
so hot. So, Symone, what's your hot take?
I'm going to keep it high, okay? You said hot take. We want to talk about teams going on a run. I'm going to go with the AFC team, and I'm going to say the Baltimore Ravens, okay? Crazy? I don't think so because number 8, Lamar Jackson, is supposed to be coming back week 9, and they're playing in the AFC North team that's still open. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they were the front runners once Lamar Jackson got hurt, once Joe Burrow got hurt, the Browns just being the Browns.
Yes.
But the Steelers dropped 2 games. They lost that old head bowl with Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers going at it. Then they dropped the game against the Packers. So the Steelers had a chance to kind of run away with the AFC North, take advantage of an injured Ravens team, an injured Bengals team, but they didn't do it. So now that Lamar Jackson is coming back, the Ravens could take the North and they could go on a run. We know that this team is uber talented when they have Lamar Jackson playing. Last week, the backup, Tyler Huntley, was able to get a win over the Bears. And when you look at their Ravens schedule, it's in their favor. They play the Dolphins. They play the Vikings, who don't know their quarterback situation. They get to play the Bengals twice. They get to play the Steelers twice. Still a fight for that division. They get to play the Jets, Yeah, so I think watch out because there's no like really dominant team. I feel like in the AFC, like the Colts are a team people are looking at, the Broncos are a team that everyone's looking at, but the Ravens can still strike if they take advantage of this second half of the season with Lamar Jackson.
Well, you heard my take, you heard Simone's take, and like Symone mentioned in her take, there's still a lot of ball left to play in the NFL, so take it or leave it. We both could be right, we both could be wrong. You know, everyone has
you're
their
wrong
opinions.
because I don't want the Packers to go on a run. So
I'm sorry. I forgot they would be going up against the Eagles. So my bad. You know. We'll see who's right at the end of the season. My hot take might be right. It might be wrong. We'll see. But we'll be back with more on Not Another Football Show after the break. And we are back with another fun segment because that's what we do here on Not Another Football Show. We started off with spiraling fan bases, then we got into our hot takes. But now I'm going to turn the camera on us, Symone, because we talked about you being an Eagles fan earlier, and we're football fans as a whole. You know, we covered the sport. Clearly, we love it. What type of fan are you?
I'm definitely an optimist. I'm always looking at the bright side. I know Eagles fans have a rep of being like crazy, passionate. I'm all that too. But I'm definitely not like an angry Eagles fan. I know we get a lot of stereotypes for being angry. I'm definitely the optimist. I do get a lot of like backlash sometimes when things look like they're spiraling for my fan base and I'm making content from a positive point of view. They're like, oh my goodness, Symone, you're too positive. This season's over, and mind you, it's week 4. So I'm definitely someone who's always looking on the bright side. I like to, hope for the best out of particular players that might not be performing that well. I'm always like, well, one more week under their belt. They're learning still. So I'm definitely not the type to quit on a player, to quit on the team. I'm definitely like, some people can say make excuses. I call it being optimistic.
I don't hate it. When I was going through, the different types of fans, I was kind of torn because you're the optimist and you're always looking on the bright side. And, like the picture that I had up a few minutes ago, this guy is like, we're going to run it back. That's you. We're going to run it back. We're going to the Super Bowl this year. We're winning it all. That's you. And I like that because you're not a bandwagon fan. You're with your team through, the storms and the rain and the sunshine. I love it. But for me personally, I wouldn't call myself a pessimist. I think that I'm a realist. And I don't know if I'm just changing the name of a pessimist, but I'm a realist. Like, I'm going to look at the stats. I'm going to look at the truth. I'm going to look at the papers that are right in front of me and take it for what it is. Like, if, we're up against a team that's better than us, I'm going to say so. If we don't have a chance, I'm going to say so. If we're playing bad, I'm going to say so. And I guess that can be seen as a pessimist, so to speak. But
I think there's a difference. I definitely think there's a difference.
But I think there's a difference, and I don't see anything wrong with it. Maybe I could be a negative Nancy, so to speak, but I think I'm just real. I'm just real, and I'm probably more of a college football fan, so I'm especially this way with my Virginia Tech Hokies. But I can tell you before a game how it's gonna go. Like, there's some games where I don't even watch it because I'm like, I already know that this is going to be a loss. I already know that this defense is going to pick our offense apart. That's just me because I'm being real. And I don't see anything wrong with it because for me personally, I think it's better than being a ref blamer. That's going to blame the ref for every single loss or every single win.
Now, that's the worst right there.
That's the worst one. I think it's better than, being a social media reporter, which we are that. But, like, live tweeting every single thing that happens, it's like, I don't need you to tweet every single thing that happens. I think big moments, great. Big plays,
I definitely
great.
agree with that.
But
especially when we're all watching the game. Like,
exactly. I don't need you to give me a play-by-play. Especially when I get on Facebook, I don't need to see a play-by-play on Facebook. I just don't need to see it. I don't need to see it. The bandwagoner we talked about a little bit, like, I'm not a bandwagon fan. I'm a real fan. I'm going to stick with you through the rain and the sunshine. But I'm going to be real. When we're bad, we're bad. When we're good, we're good. So I feel like I'm in the middle.
Now, if you're going to bring up college football, my team, NC State, definitely a realist, pessimist, whatever you want to call it, because I already know going in those games, I'm like, who we playing? Okay, might be a loss.
And I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that, speaking of which type of fan are you, I think that you can switch which type of fan you are. So I think that, you know, you can be a realist one day, and maybe you want to be a conspiracy theorist one day. You know, be those fans that are like, the NFL is rigged. Like every year when the Super Bowl logo comes out and it's like the certain colors, they'll be like, okay, the colors are red and purple, so that means that this team and this team are going to the Super Bowl. And it's like, do y'all think their NFL is really scripted? Do you think it's scripted, Symone?
I don't think so. I think it's too many variables for it to be scripted. I think that I can see why, you know, if you're like a conspiracy theorist already, why you might pick up on little things and be like, oh, you know, you might feel like you got little Easter eggs. But I just think there's just too many variables in live sports for it to be actually scripted.
I agree. I truly think that the best teams are there. The best teams are there. And sometimes it ends up being the Chiefs, which, you know, not a huge fan of. But I do think the best teams are there. I like that the overtime rules have changed. So I know there were certain seasons where I was like, dang, I would have loved to see this team, you know, have a chance to be on offense in this overtime game because that could have put them in the Super Bowl. I think that happened with the Bengals one year. But it is what it is, you know. It is what it is. Whoever's the winner at the end of the game, nothing we can do about it. We can't go back. And what's that saying when people are like, you know, there are no sore winners? I'm messing that up. What's that saying?
It's no.
Like when you lose, but it's so close. You were so close to winning.
When it's like close but no cigar.
Yeah. It's like you're close, but I'm sorry, the close doesn't work in football. You either win or you lose. And then my last type of fan that we didn't really talk about is the chill observer. I don't know if I am one of these, but you know the people who just watch the game and enjoy it? Like, you know when people watching a movie and some people talk through the whole movie, and then same with the football game, some people have to talk through the whole game. Then there's the chill fan that just likes the game of football, watches it, doesn't really say anything. They just enjoy it for the entertainment that it is. That's not me, but do you know any of those?
I know a lot of those, and I'm actually jealous of those fans because the way my heart rate goes up, like if my team is not up by 25 throughout the entire game,
25,
I'm stressed. If we do not have a 3-score lead the entire game, then I'm stressed because I'm like, it's too much time. Anything can happen. So I'm definitely like stressed during the game. And I wish I was a chill observer because they're having a good time regardless.
They are, and I'm jealous too. And I'd actually, at first when you said 25, I was like, okay, that's a lot. But in another episode of Not Another Football Show, we were talking about, you know, haunted moments, and that 28-3, that's a good example of why you need to be up multiple scores so that there's no way a comeback can happen. Because Falcons fans, you know, are still being haunted by that. So I don't blame you, Symone. And I really am so glad that you were on here today to have some fun with me on Not Another Football Show. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun.
That's it for Symone and I on this week's Not Another Football Show. I hope you come back and join us for some more entertainment on the next show. But until then, if you missed last week's episode, be sure to go back and watch it, and we'll see you next time.